Welcome to Hero Villains. Who do you think will win between Killer Frost versus Human Torch when ice challenges destructive flames? Killer Frost possesses the ability to absorb thermal energy from her surroundings and living beings, turning everything around her into ice in the blink of an eye. She can freeze enemies, conjure harsh blizzards, and quickly weaken opponents by draining their heat. Human Torch is the embodiment of explosive heat. He can engulf his entire body in flames, soar through the air, and unleash massive bursts of firepower, even reaching a nova state with terrifying temperatures. His mobility and wide area attacks make him an incredibly unpredictable opponent. Before we dive deeper into the analysis, please hit that subscribe button and remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you all so much. Killer Frost, whose true identity is Keone, is a mysterious, detached part of Dr. Caitlin Snow. From a criminal with dangerous ice powers, she gradually emerged from the shadows to become a protector of justice, fighting alongside Team Flash. After fully separating from Caitlin, Frost became not only an independent entity, but also a close sister and a crucial emotional anchor in Caitlin's life. However, that journey was never easy. As Killer Frost, Caitlin was torn by the fear that her icy powers would consume any remaining humanity. An encounter with her Earth 2 counterpart, a cruel, lonely, and unloved individual, deeply scarred her mind. This insecurity gradually turned into resentment, especially towards Barry. In her mind, he selfishly altered the timeline for his own personal happiness, disregarding the consequences. That anger made Killer Frost sharp and cold in both her words and actions. She didn't hesitate to mock others' weaknesses, particularly Cisco's, as a way to hide her own deep-seated pain. Yet, behind that emotionless, icy facade was a soul longing to be understood. Every glance, every harsh word was like a shattered piece of ice, reflecting a pain she had never dared to face. And it was through this internal struggle that Frost gradually found her own path, where she was no longer defined by her past. Killer Frost displayed her arrogance with long-winded, cold, and domineering remarks. In her mind, Caitlin was merely a weak, pathetic version undeserving of existence. Each statement was like a deep cut into her old self, as if she were trying to erase every trace of the person she once was. Driven by a desire to prove herself, Killer Frost sought every opportunity to demonstrate her loyalty to Savitar. When the chance arose, she immediately targeted Tracy Brand, who was believed to be a future threat. But that decisive moment didn't go as planned. A momentary hesitation led to her failure, and it didn't escape Savitar's mocking gaze. He ridiculed the moniker she had chosen for herself, emphasizing the bitter truth that she had never truly killed anyone. That moment was like a crack appearing in the proud, icy facade she had built. Behind her cruel exterior was a wavering uncertainty, a sense of emptiness she refused to acknowledge. Perhaps, deep down, Caitlin was still there, fragile yet resilient, silently resisting the engulfment of darkness. And it was this internal conflict that made Killer Frost more dangerous than ever, not just to others, but also to herself. Killer Frost is not merely someone with special abilities. She commands absolute cold. She can create, control, and completely master ice, snow, and low temperatures, causing everything around her to freeze in an instant. No forceful touch is needed. A mere light contact is enough to turn an object into a solid block of ice. Even her own body emits a harsh, cold aura, lowering temperatures from the outside in, as if winter's breath itself has become a living weapon. Frost's abilities aren't limited to offense. She can construct ice at will, turning imagination into reality. Ice stairs can rise in mid-air. Transparent yet sturdy shields protect her from any attack, and ice pillars can suddenly erupt from the ground to lift her high above. She moves fluidly by gliding on ice ramps she creates herself, as if sliding through a world she controls. Frost can also manipulate her environment, summoning snowfall or even conjuring fierce blizzards. Each time she uses her power, the air thickens and cold winds howl, carrying a biting chill that seeps into every breath. Her breath also becomes a weapon, exhaling a cold mist capable of instantly freezing a target. Even more terrifying is her self-healing ability. Frost can use her own power to heal wounds, making her incredibly resilient in prolonged battle. But Beneath all these powers lies a captivating, chilling beauty, like a blizzard that is both destructive and alluring. She can drain heat from an opponent's body, just as she once nearly paralyzed Cyborg despite his system's attempts to resist. For Frost, heat isn't just energy. It's something that can be stolen, turning opponents into cold, helpless bodies on the battlefield. She can solidify the air around a target, gradually reducing oxygen until the victim suffocates. She can erect ice shields strong enough to block powerful energy attacks, even reflecting them by creating intricate reflective surfaces. In some cases, her ice also has toxic properties, not only freezing opponents but also weakening them internally. Frost's power also extends to air manipulation, creating snow whirlwinds around her body as a defensive layer. She is nearly immune to high temperatures, and her body is perpetually covered in a layer of eternal ice. Even when facing the fear of exploitation and mutation, she maintains her willpower, resisting mental manipulation. The greater her power, the clearer the cost. If she doesn't continuously absorb heat, her body will gradually weaken and lead to death. This very need for survival has transformed her ability into an invisible hunger. When she reaches her maximum state, Frost can overwhelm formidable opponents like Firestorm or Cyborg. Even more terrifying, by absorbing heat from Superman, she once reached a power level sufficient to incapacitate the entire Justice League in a single moment. In terms of speed, Frost is not merely agile but also possesses incredible reaction capabilities. She can keep pace with Black Canary, and when unleashing her full power. However, behind all these numbers and power levels lies a truth colder than any ice. Frost doesn't just fight enemies. She also fights herself. Each time she absorbs heat, she moves closer to the boundary between survival and losing herself. I really hope you'll subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot, and you're the best. Thank you so much. Now, let's talk about Human Torch. Johnny Storm, widely known as the Human Torch, is one of the most prominent members of the Fantastic Four. Before becoming a blazing power, he was just a regular high school student, growing up in a once warm family that was soon shadowed by tragedy. Johnny and his sister Sue's lives were peaceful in Long Island until their mother passed away in a car accident. That shock caused their father, Dr. Franklin Storm, to gradually lose himself and spiral into mistakes, leading to their family's breakup. Johnny and Sue had to move in with their aunt, carrying emotional wounds that never truly healed. Despite a past full of loss, Johnny remained a young man full of energy and passion. He was captivated by speed and machinery, becoming a skilled mechanic at a very young age. His bravery quickly emerged when he didn't hesitate to rush into a burning building to save his friends, despite the danger. That very spirit foreshadowed the path he would later take. The fateful turning point occurred when Johnny, along with Sue, Reed Richards, and Ben Grimm, embarked on a space flight aboard the Marvel One. A cosmic radiation incident changed them forever. For Johnny, his body transformed into a living flame entity, blazing like plasma, allowing him to fly and unleash terrifying thermal energy. From then on, they became the Fantastic Four, who not only explored other dimensions but also stood up to protect the world from threats. Johnny's life was not without supernatural challenges. He once nearly became the host of the demonic entity Zarathos, facing temptations and dangers beyond imagination. But through sheer willpower and help from Max Parrish, he escaped that darkness. Even as a member of the renowned Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm still had to return to life as a high school student in Glenville, where tests and classes ran parallel to superhero battles. He once tried to keep his identity secret as a way to protect his personal life, but that quickly became meaningless when the team's identities were soon made public. From then on, Johnny had no choice but to accept the collision of two worlds. Even when operating independently, or occasionally with assistance from Thing or Sue, Johnny constantly faced a barrage of strange and dangerous foes. From extremist ideologues, mysterious sorcerers, to entities from other dimensions, each encounter was a challenge beyond a normal teenager's imagination. He once confronted characters like Zemu, Pacepot, Pete, and Acrobat, names that seemed bizarre but harbored real threats. One memorable milestone was when Johnny teamed up with Iceman to defeat the modern pirate Barracuda. After countless battles, he emerged as a young man learning to grow up in a world that was never at peace. Each time he flared up, Johnny not only incinerated his foes, but also ignited his desire to prove himself. Johnny Storm is consistently regarded as the most formidable source of firepower in the Fantastic Four. His ability to unleash energy isn't limited to ordinary incineration. It can reach near cosmic levels. Johnny's full power flame on state has never had its limits clearly defined. The temperatures Johnny generates have been estimated to be extremely high, comparable to violent astronomical phenomena. While a supernova explosion can reach tens of millions of degrees, Johnny is also capable of approaching those astonishing figures. However, the crucial factor lies in how he controls this power source. Johnny's energy is not limitless, and every flight or battle consumes a portion of his precious reserves. Therefore, if he limits his expenditure and focuses all his energy into a single attack, Johnny can create an extremely destructive explosion. The destructive force could then reach the level of a miniature supernova, enough to incinerate everything in a vast area, such as an entire city, a concentrated, ferocious firestorm that is almost impossible to withstand. Among those who can withstand the full power of Johnny Storm, there's almost only one name: his sister, Sue Storm. With her ability to generate nearly absolute force fields, Sue not only protects herself, but can also shield the entire team from Johnny's intense thermal bursts. In fact, she is often considered the strongest in the Fantastic Four, not because of her offensive power, but because of her almost impenetrable defensive capabilities. To break through that protection, continuous attacks on the level of the Hulk, or equivalent, are required, even when her force fields are overcome. The reason isn't weakness, but rather Sue's mental endurance being pushed to its limit. Meanwhile, Ben Grimm, many believe he is the strongest on the team, and that's not wrong when considering his durability. The Thing can maintain a high level of combat for extended periods, capable of facing opponents like the Hulk without falling. He isn't explosive like Johnny, but he's the one who endures the longest when battles are pushed to their limits. Johnny Storm embodies explosive power. When channeling all his energy, he can unleash attacks that far surpass his teammates in destructive potential. However, the cost is rapid exhaustion. After each full-powered flare-up, his body needs time to recover, much like a brilliant flame that cannot burn forever without fuel. Even so, that fierce power is not absolute. Entities like Thor, Hulk, or Silver Surfer can still withstand and directly confront Johnny. That doesn't diminish the terrifying nature of his abilities, rather, it highlights his position in the superhero world. Johnny is not an eternal flame, but in his most powerful moments, he can make an entire battlefield glow brightly. When he transforms into a plasma state, Johnny's body becomes extremely difficult to harm. He can withstand blows from powerful opponents and continue fighting. He can shrug off Gladiator's punches and endure multiple blows from Namor and Hammerhead, as if he has merged with the fire and is no longer bound by limits. Even when not a flame, he can adjust the ambient temperature, heating, or cooling anything at will. He can extinguish flames by absorbing them into his body, turning danger into a source of power for himself. This ability has helped him protect his teammates in life or death situations. When Johnny unleashes his Nova, it's not just an attack. It's an explosion of willpower, emotion, and his very limits. That flame burns so brightly it seems capable of incinerating the entire world, but precisely because of that, it cannot last forever. When Killer Frost clashes with Human Torch, the battle between ice and fire is a showdown of two completely opposing power mechanisms. One side generates immense heat to overwhelm, while the other thrives by absorbing that very energy. Killer Frost possesses an extremely high level of heat absorption, turning all forms of thermal energy into a power source for herself. From ordinary flames to plasma or the Nova Flame state that Johnny Storm utilizes, all become fuel that makes her stronger with each passing second. The terrifying part is that the more intensely she is attacked, the more Frost's power and durability increase, Beyond absorption, she can also lower the ambient temperature to extreme levels in an instant. With just one touch or a wide area blizzard, Killer Frost can completely freeze an opponent right from the start. Her regenerative abilities and the durability of her icy body also allow her to withstand immense heat sources without being destroyed, making her an almost impenetrable wall against fire-based attacks. It's undeniable that Human Torch is one of the most powerful fire wielders. He can fly at supersonic speeds, create terrifying thermal explosions, and achieve the Nova Flame state with immense destructive power. However, this very pinnacle of power becomes a fatal weakness when facing Killer Frost. Each time Johnny increases his heat output, he inadvertently fuels his opponent. This puts him in a catch-22 situation. If he doesn't use his full power, he won't deal enough damage. But if he unleashes his strongest attack, he's only depleting his energy reserves faster. Even close quarters combat becomes perilous with the constant threat of being frozen. Overall, Killer Frost holds an almost absolute advantage. She not only directly counters Human Torch's powers, but also transforms his strengths into her own power source. The battle would likely end quite quickly as Frost drains Johnny's heat, making him unable to maintain his combat form before completely freezing his body. Human Torch's only chance lies in a surprise attack with extreme intensity right from the start, but this is highly unlikely against an opponent with Frost's quick reactions and environmental control. Victory leans heavily towards Killer Frost with an overwhelming probability of about 8 to 9 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this battle. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thank you all so much.